Now this is crazy, gang. This woman, like, you know what I'm saying, there was helping out the homeless, giving them food and stuff that they can use, even if they get injured or so or whatever, whatnot. And the police, like, arrested her for nothing or whatever, whatnot. And like, it's crazy because they made it illegal to, like, you know, help the homeless or whatever, whatnot. Even don't have a permit or whatever. That's crazy, gang. Some crazy stuff. You wanna treat the homeless like they trash, like they not people. For real, that's on bro. Anyway, so now there's like, you know, woman was like sitting up in the parking lot where she, like, you know, where her job was or whatever, whatnot. And these security guards or these cops end up messing with her for no reason. No reason at all. They just mess with her just to mess with her. And they wouldn't even tell her, like, you know, what they, like, you know, actually did that for or whatever. It said somebody, like, you know, called them and, like, you know, was complaining about her being up in that, like, you know, parking lot or whatever, whatnot. But for what? For what reason? Or whatever, whatnot. Not saying she didn't even do nothing. She was just only sitting there minding her business. But they trespassed her from all the, like, parking lots. For real though. And that's crazy. And she worked it at one of those companies or whatever, whatnot. So they stopped her from going to work or whatever, whatnot. Like, that's some crazy stuff, gang. That's on, bro. Anyway, so these prisoners, like, you know, end up taking over a prison or whatever, whatnot. And, like, hell, 3 cops hostage or whatever, whatnot. That's it. For real though. Because, like, you know, cops wouldn't treat the prisoners right or whatever, whatnot. For real though. Because, like, they treat them like they you know, bitches. I'm just gonna say it. For real though. And they're not gonna, like, you know, treat them like, they're gonna treat them like they're bitches or whatever, whatnot. For real though. And that's what they do in all prisons. For real though. I mean, like, shoot. So they got sick of it and they took over the, like, you know, prison or whatever, whatnot. For real though. And, like, one of the, like, you know, cops, like, you know, end up escaping or whatever, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Have the sheriff up there, like, speaking up and all that stuff. Like, oh my goodness, they just want to, like, place the blame on him. Why? Because, like, he's the sheriff. Right? I'm like, that stuff don't even make no sense, gang. For real though. Plus, he wasn't even in at that prison or whatever, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And that's on real. Anyway, this, like, 39-year-old hit this 70-year-old, like, you know, in back of his head with a, like, you know, 2x4. And then he hit him with his fist or whatever. Like, you know, he hit him like 7 times with a 2x4 and 7 times with his fist while his daughter was with him or whatever, whatnot. And I'm talking about the 39-year-old. Real though, that was crazy as ever. And he was, like, you know, corroborating. But when he, like, heard that he was going to jail, then he stopped corroborating. Real though. And that's some, like, you know, hey, that's some crazy stuff. But shoot, I'm already knowing that he wasn't going to stop corroborating when he knew he was going to jail. And that's on bro. Anyway, so this cop almost, like, you know, caused an accident with this biker or whatever, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? For real though. Anyway, so yeah, he, like, after looking for someone he was chasing on foot. He was up in this cruiser up there looking around and stuff like that. The biker almost, like, you know what I'm saying, saw that he was, like, you know, like, slowing down or whatever. So the biker, like, you know, put on his signal and changed lanes real quick or whatever, whatnot. And, like, right after he, like, you know, drove past the cop or whatever, the cop, like, you know, pulled him over, and he, like, you know, started trying to give him the 3rd degree. But the biker, like, you know, was speaking facts. Because, like, yeah, he went to go, like, playing no mind games with that biker. For real though. I mean, I tell you. the supervisors try to like, play mind games with him and stuff like that. They even end up giving this guy sanitation or whatever. For real though. And like, you know what I'm saying? They were just crazy. It was just crazy as ever. For real though. I mean, like, no violence didn't occur or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Because like, that was on camera. He recorded the whole entire thing. For real though. I mean, like, shoot, he like, actually like stood up to them and he told them what's what or whatever or not. And no education there's like, get started or nothing like that. And that's on bro. For real though. Now, this other cop pulled this lady over because she was yelling out her like window. Yelling out her car window. This dude was in the middle of a trip stop, right? So he like, actually like saw that the woman was yelling and yelling out her window or whatever about the trip and stuff or whatever. So he just went to go like, stop her or whatever. And then he go lie and say that she was on her phone. I'm like, nah. That's not what happened. Right. He up there like, trying to make up lies and stuff. Trying to like act like, what I'm saying, he not being recorded or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? And like it was crazy as ever. You know what I'm saying? Bro, I mean like shoot. Ain't no violence in occur or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? He asked her for like, driver's license or stuff for no reason. For real though. Because like he just stopped her for no reason. For real though. Anyway, so she just gave him her driver's license or whatever, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? For real though. I mean like because that was crazy. For real though. I mean like shoot, that's really something. That's whatever whatnot, you know what I'm saying? For real though. And that was the end of it. That's all, bro. Anyway, so now all these like, what I'm saying, this bull that's happening or whatever whatnot, you know what I'm saying? I mean like shoot, it's crazy. It's crazy as ever. I mean like shoot. Anyway, so yeah, I end up like, beating my brother up in like Uno for the first time. Well, I beat him like 2 times. You know what I'm saying? The first time he like, worked it. I mean like shoot, I know he had to give me that. Or whatever, because I already had 1 card and then I had to like, do something or whatever whatnot, and when like, the roommate like, had to quit because she had to do something or whatever whatnot. He quit too. So I went about the phone. And then like, what I'm saying, we like, start playing again or whatever whatnot. I know he beat me or whatever. But when we played again, then I beat him. So yeah, I was like, okay, cool. That's what's up. I mean, like, actually just, like, let to see, like, what's up or whatever. When I know I could have beat him, like, plenty other times or whatever when I'm not saying because, like, dude, that's like Brody, like, losing. For real, though, I'm like, oh my goodness. But for real, though, yeah, but he took it like a champ, though. He took it like a champ. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, yeah. He didn't even get mad or not. Real though, it was cool. We did have fun though. We was cracking jokes and all that. And that's what we do. We don't like, actually just like, and like it's like, money on the line or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Real though. But especially when we play Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? Real though. I mean like Call of Duty is cool as ever. Especially if I'm like, going against them or whatever when you know what I'm saying? Real though. Anyway, so yeah, I mean I remember I like, won some like, matches against him in Call of Duty, but that's because he was like, had a like action figure or whatever whatnot, you know what I'm saying? And he tried to like, just come up and just like, use the action figure on me. The action figure be like, hiya, hiya, hiya. We having that like, chopping grip or whatever whatnot, like it's crazy, you know what I'm saying? If y'all play like, Call of Duty 4, y'all seen that or whatever when they had that action figure on there or whatever. Oh man, I'm telling you, it means some crazy stuff, gang. For real though. Plus, my brother actually put some just other strip or thing or whatever so you can't hear her footsteps or whatever. Then he just sneak up on you and just BAP! But anyway, like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Hit the bell and notifications so you see my next upload and my next post, and to make sure I make a number tomorrow. And oh yeah, you can check out my previous videos if you like game. So long, farewell, goodbye.